Throughout the month of February, Black History Month celebrates the contributions of African Americans to American history and culture. Black History Month actually started as Negro History Week in 1926 by Carter G. Woodson. The goal of Black History Week was to educate African Americans about their cultural background and instill in us a sense of pride in our race. But in the words of a well-known actor, you're going to relegate Black history to a month? Black history is American history. All African Americans have to keep in mind the truth in this statement, and they and their children stand on the shoulders of many who came before them, such as Martin Luther King Jr., Jackie Robinson, Rosa Parks, Thurgood Marshall, Madam C.J. Walker, and many others. Black history is American history and should be recognized as such by everyone and not just one race. This public service announcement was sponsored by B48 Productions and Maestro Advertising.
Is because our future generation is under attack. Whether or not we want to talk about it or we want to turn a blind head. But this young lady right here, she was at the award show with Venus Marshall. If you remember, Venus Marshall used to be my co-host at when I was at WODU Studios. And this young lady, she had with her. So I said, I'm going to make this young lady my poster child for my campaign in gun violence and the things that affect our future generation, because she represents the future generation. And I want to, let you know that our young people need our support and our help. We have to tell them when they're right, and we have to tell them when they're wrong. And we are losing young people, or, people are going through the neighborhood shooting in people's houses. Well, one house a week ago, 20 shots went in a house, and a young man is in the hospital now recuperating from being shot, 8 years old, while laying in bed. These are alarming situations. I don't know why our young people are so angry, why they disrespect the seniors, disrespect family members, but most of all, they disrespect the neighbors. Our future generation needs our help and our support. You have to talk to them and let them know what they're doing is wrong. It's not a video game. This is not a video game. It's not going to play out the way it is in the video games or in the movies. Our young people deserve to have a chance to live their lives. And as I said, I wanted to be taking some pictures with different, people, youth, visiting different youth, because they need to know that we really care. They need to know that they're the most precious and valuable thing on earth. And they deserve a right to have a peaceful and wonderful life. Our young people need our support. As I begin my campaign in a few weeks or month, it's not about me. It's about getting the word out to let our young people know that we need their help. We need them to be able to say, I'm going to talk to my friends. We can do better. We can do better. Don't you think it's ironic that all of a sudden we have all these young people so violent towards each other, and they are the future. They got their whole life ahead of them. And the enemy is tricking them to pick up guns, go to school, shoot people, ride through the neighborhood and shoot people. I call that a state of emergency. We have to do more than just have police walking through the neighborhood, because that ain't solving nothing. Who's going to talk to a police officer in the neighborhood? You got 15, 20 police officers going through the neighborhood. And ain't now neighbor out there is going to talk to you. They don't even want you at the door, because you're bringing attention to where they stay. I mean, common sense. Common sense. As soon as you leave, more people get shot. There's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way. We all have a responsibility to these little ones. We all have a responsibility. I don't care if you're an entertainer. I don't care if you're a police officer. I don't care if you're the mayor of the city. You got to do better than what you're doing. We have people running for office. And I haven't went to too many meetings where people are talking about what's their status or why are they running. Our young people are dying. And all we can do is say, well, they got guns. Of course they have guns. And most anybody that has a gun, they carry a gun because they're afraid. They are afraid. That's why they carry guns. But we take for granted that they're just going to give up a gun. And what are we doing to help them along the way? I know without no shadow of a doubt, if you talk to them and get their support, if you talk to them and ask them to help with the problems that we're facing in our community, that we can solve the problem. Because you can't kill everybody. Everywhere you turn, it seems like that's all we see in the news. Even in other countries, killing babies, killing kids, elderly that deserve to have a chance to live their life out. Where and what are we doing? If a child is not precious, because whenever I read scripture, and when you see the pictures that may not be identified as the Jesus that we know, the color, but one thing we know for sure, he picked up a child and set that child on his knee. And he said, anyone who touches a hair on this little one head offends me. And you would rather have a millstone cast about your neck and you be cast in the midst of the sea. These young people haven't done anything. They didn't ask to be born. Every woman and man that brings a life into this world, that child did not ask to be born. But since they're here, they ask to be loved. They ask to be loved. You can't turn a blind eye. You can't become their friend. You are a mother. You are a father. That is your position. We can't continue to let our children be the target of evil. I don't know no other way to explain it. I don't know no other way to even ask. Why can't we just get along? After 400 years of slavery, our ancestors are turning over in their grave. Martin Luther King gave his life so that we could have freedom. Megan Everett lost his life because he wanted us to have freedom. All the civil rights marchers and leaders who marched in cities, even here in the 757, did it for one reason, because they wanted the future generation to know that they are the most valuable people on the face of the planet. I don't know what's wrong, but I do know we can do better. I know somewhere along the way, we must do better. It's an election year. Everybody wants to be in office. Everybody wants a position. But are you getting in office to protect our future? The most precious resources on the face of the planet. The most valuable resources on the planet is our youth, is our young people. And whether or not we're going to get more engaged on a local level because it's an election year, if the people are not representing this picture right here, this child right here, why are they running? And when they get there, it's the same lip service that we had before they won. And the same people keep running, coming back to run again. Ain't nothing changed but the day and the time. We got now the 10-1 voting system in Virginia Beach. We have more African Americans in positions in Virginia Beach in the history, from police department, city manager, and city council. Sirens going off. People are still shooting. Portsmouth, people are still shooting. Norfolk, people are still shooting. Newport News, even down in Franklin and in Suffolk, the 7 cities, Hampton. Are we talking to the people and giving them our attention? As soon as we get in office, everything about the future generation is on the back burner. You can't even turn on the TV today without young people being hurt, being shot, being killed. And you're going to tell me this goes on in your house and you don't know it? Innocent people, innocent families, innocent children are being harmed, and we have no answer for that. The most precious thing that you can ever have is your child in your life. And our children are going to the cemetery and a pipeline to prison. They can't even go to school safe. The school is now like a prison. You got to be wanted in, metal detectors. You got to be searched. What about the children? They ain't did nothing. These little ones being shot while in bed. The young man is in hospital right now. We done took our eye off the ball. Everybody's a boss and nobody's a parent. I'm a boss. I'm a boss. I'm an entrepreneur. They ain't got your trick. As they used to say back in the 60s, they didn't give you the trick bag, baby. You got the trick bag. You are a mother and a father first. And your kids are out of hand, out of control. And you tell them that you love them. You're the friend. How you going to love them if they wind up in the cemetery? How you going to love them if they go to the pipeline to prison? I'm only one person. But I'm not going to stop talking about the problem that faces our youth. They're scared. One reason anybody carry a gun or any weapon, they scared. Guns don't kill people. People kill people. You're making our young people murderers. Half the kids, youth, ain't been out the neighborhood, ain't went to another city. It's half of them, probably 3/4 of the young people in the 757 has never been to Busch Gardens, has never been to King's Dominion, has never been to a movie theater. But they got a gun. They go in the dollar store, which I have observed when I saw a bunch of young men in the store, walking through the aisles, picking up stuff and trying to put it in their pocket. You don't even teach the kids. If you ain't got no money, don't go in the store. That's what I was taught when I was growing up. You ain't got no money, don't put your hands on nothing. They don't even know. That's petty larceny. They're going to get you reform school, get you suspended or whatever until you go over and pick up something that says $50 or $100. And you going to the pipeline to prison. Or your mom going to pay a lot of money out, or your dad, to try to keep you out of jail. When the best way is to make sure you teach them, train them. The Bible say, oh, okay, I know. Don't talk about religion because I have people done left already. I'm sorry. But it's in scripture. Train them while they're young so they won't do wrong. When you don't educate your kids about the little things, the things that we laugh about, the things they see on YouTube. Half the stuff on YouTube is being played out in your house, in your neighborhood. If it's not educational, why they on there? There's billions of people putting negative content, influencing your children to do wrong. But we don't want to hear about that. We want to look and listen and talk about the things that we love to do. Party and dance. And then we have a pity party when we lose a loved one. We have a candlelight visual. But if that candlelight was burning, to check on and see if your kids was in their bed, if they staying in your house, regardless of what age they are, they should have a time they need to be in the house. That's the way I was brought up. That's the way I brought my kids up. You ain't out after 9 o'clock. You in the house. Before the sun come down, you in the house. It ain't got to be 9 o'clock. Because I know that the enemy is real. The enemy wants to take your life, your freedom. And like they say, everything ain't free. Because it says ain't nothing free on this planet. You think it's free? Anybody gave you a month or 3 months free rent? Is your landlord come by your house and say, hey, look, I know you've been laid off. So for the next 3 months, you ain't got to pay no rent. How many of y'all got free rent? If you ain't got that money to pay that light bill, how do you get the rent paid? How do you get the mortgage paid? You working 2 or 3 jobs to make ends meet. The hustle was put in long time ago when they started welfare. They told women, you cannot have a man in the house. Because if you do, your check get cut off. And then in the 80s, under Bill Clinton and Al Gore, they said we're stopping welfare. And they did. Well, they didn't, but they did. Because the check you got became a loan. When they started letting the women had kids to support them, you can't have a man in the house. You can take the man to court for child support, and we'll try to increase if he's got a job. That was the pipeline to prison for the man or young man. You got a child, you can't afford to take care of him. Well, we're going to take care of the kid, but you're going to get a job and pay this back. And I don't care if you got to work 2 to 3 jobs. And then when he can't find a job to pay enough money, he gets tired, he gets frustrated because now him and his child's mother's now no longer seeing each other. He's upset, do something wrong. He's on his way to the pipeline to prison. 10, 20, 30 years. Then if you try to get the side hustle, the street hustle, the next pipeline to prison. And that gets you the big time. 20 to 30. Life. We have to do better because our future generation is dependent on mothers and fathers. I can make all the videos and say what I want, and most of the people won't agree, won't speak on it. Because it's easy not to say anything. It's easy to pretend, hey, it ain't my job. And why is the city walking around asking everybody to volunteer? The people that's asking you to volunteer get a check. Every week or every 2 weeks, they getting paid. But they want you to volunteer. How can you volunteer when you got your own bills, your own family to take care of? And they try to keep people from reaching young people the right way. If you see a baby lying on the bed and he's crying and you don't pick him up, you said, I'm going to just let him lay there. I ain't holding him. And it's your child. He's crying. Why do you think he's crying? Because he can't talk. Maybe he's hungry. Maybe he's afraid. So just imagine a person that can talk. Do you talk to your kids when they come home from school? Do you ask them questions of how their day was going? Or do you just, I'm tired. I got to go in here and cook something. I don't feel like talking. Turn that TV off. Turn that game off. But did you tell them when you walked in how much you missed them? Did you tell them how much you care? We have an obligation and responsibility to all these children out here that don't have a gun. We have a responsibility for the kids that get a gun because they're afraid and they wind up hurting someone and themselves in the long run. We lose 2 for 1. That's your 2 for 1. It's like I'm in the store. You buy one, I'm gonna give you one. So you're afraid, your child is afraid. He's afraid to tell you, he's afraid to talk to you, or she's afraid to tell you she's being bullied at school. And those that are not carrying a gun, they wind up committing suicide. Are we going to continue to sit here and only thing that we can hope for is the people you put in office do their job? You only see them most of the time when it's time for an election. If they ain't running, you don't see them. They're already in the seat. How many of the politicians you seen walk through your neighborhood other than when they are running for election? How many of these politicians knock on your door and say, how is everything going in the community? They don't have to bring the police with them. They can just knock on your door as a concerned citizen that you put in office, that you put in the seat, that you voted for, that you convince some of your neighbors and friends to vote for them. But after they get in office, how many come to your door and knock on it saying, how you doing? No, I'm not running for no office. I already got the position. I'm checking in on you that voted for me. Where they at? These kids are dying every day. Where are they if they ain't in the news? They'll be on the news. They'll come to the schools, do photo ops with the kids, reading a book when they're running. Where they at after they get the seat? You don't see them unless they need your vote. Where they at? Your child is lying in the hospital. Did they stop by and say, I'm sorry, I hope you get better? Where they at? If it ain't a photo op, you don't see them. And we go along with the program. We keep sitting by, and our future is dying. Our young people need our love. If you give it to them, they will respond. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I had other things I was going to talk about. It's Black History Month. We got a lot of people that made history this month. I was going to talk about them and salute them. But when I started, I couldn't even speak. So I presume that was my spirit said, let's change the topic. This is more important. This child is more important. We can talk about the awards, those that put it on, those that showed up. We can always do that another day. We can always talk. I didn't want to become one of those to say, hey, we gave 2 minutes to that. We gave 2 minutes to this child. We gave 3 minutes to show her picture that you took with her. I'm tired of seeing our children dying, committing suicide, mental health issues. How many of your children you see in a commercial at Busch Gardens or at King's Dominion? How many of your kids you see at a basketball game right in their neighborhood? You can't afford to take them. But you go buy them Jordans. You got to make them look good with expensive clothes. But in their heart, they don't feel love. We can talk all we want to. It's not my saying, it's God's. What part you don't understand? Why can't you listen to the words of God? I'm just going to put this comment up there. Rebecca, I hope I pronounced your name right. I don't like reading people's names. Yeah, the Jehovah's Witness, yeah. They'll come to your house and check on me and mine before a called politician would. Just saying, because it's the truth. I'm going to leave that up there. I'm going to leave that up there. Ask yourself the question. It's election year. They'll be knocking on your door. They'll be ringing your phone. They got your mailing list. But how many, with all the violence going on, has called you and asked you what's your concerns, what you want them to champion? Our future is dying. And you got to ask that question. You're the one that's making policy. See, we don't worry about the president. We got to worry about the city council. We got to worry about the mayor. We got to worry about Richmond, the White House there, because it's white, ain't it? It's white, ain't it? The people that are there, the delegates, the senators. We got to worry about them, the ones that make policy in your city and state that's represented. Washington don't know what's going on with you. They don't know what's going on with the president. Is the president of the whole United States and all the countries that we engage with. We like a soap opera today when it comes to politics. And the main star is Donald Trump. He tells them what to do and what to say. He get up there and tell you, say, hey, I'm doing this for y'all. They're trying to get rid of me because I'm trying to do this for y'all. Donald Trump don't know y'all. He only know if you put him in office. But he'll know if you take him out of office like you did and make it a second time. I'm pretty sure some of those people that went up there to Washington that's now in jail, I'm pretty sure they're sitting in that prison cell saying, what did I get myself into? What did I get myself into? Because Donald Trump ain't in jail. Donald Trump said he don't know nothing about what y'all did. Put me back in office, I'm gonna pardon you. What? They broke the law. Police officers up there at the Capitol got killed. And he said, I'm gonna pardon you. I ain't did nothing wrong. Maybe most people don't know the rules and regulations. And most people don't because they didn't go to broadcasting school. Anybody, but they call it a erection, I don't know what they call it. Anybody that use a microphone or any electronic device to amplify their voice is accused of inciting a riot. Didn't he use it? Wasn't he talking on a mic? When he was encouraging people and everything that went on? When he became president, before he became president, they asked him to show his taxes. He said, I ain't showing nothing. I ain't got to tell you anything. And he's coming back with the same rhetoric. You can't blame Donald Trump. You got to blame yourself if you don't register to vote. You got to blame yourself if you don't go to the voting polls and vote for a candidate that sounds like you. We are losing our country because there's too many Afro-American, black and brown people in the country. White people don't come from Europe no more. They stay in Europe. So we got a better life over here, baby. We can sit around and drink tea and wine. Pass me one of those croissants over there. They tell you, I don't know why you keep listening to the same numbers. They tell you $1 trillion, $1.3 trillion black people spend. We've been spending $1.3 trillion for the last 20 years. How can you spend the same amount of money at the time we were spending? It was only about 18 to 20 million blacks. And the numbers are almost double. So how do you keep spending the same money and you got more black people paying taxes and buying stuff? They got you food. They got you hook, wink, and bamboozle. They ain't getting you the real numbers. We stay in the most richest country on the face of the planet. And they tell you we don't have no money. You pay taxes every day. Oh, the companies ain't paying no money. That's why you can see they trying to take Donald Trump to court now. Take his properties because he weren't paying taxes. So how many more is not paying taxes? You ain't going to get away with not paying taxes. I ain't going to get away with not paying taxes. And here's a man saying the old cliche sound bites. I'm doing it for you. Well, Donald Trump, don't run for president. I don't want you to run for president for me. Take care of your personal business right now. Take care of your business. Take care of your family. Your kids are being destroyed. Your companies are being destroyed. Your stockholders are losing money, Donald. Don't run for president. How's you doing anything? Because most of the people you telling them you're doing it for are poor. You got poor white folks too. It ain't the rich people that's going to the polls. It's the poor people that stand in line. It's the poor people that stand in line. It don't matter what race, creed, or color you are. We got to stop pretending that, hey, we know everything. I don't know nothing. But I know what my spirit tells me to tell you. We can read a lot of stuff, but it got to sink in because you don't know who you are. If you know who you were, you would wake up, as they say, and smell the bacon. God created you, not man. Bible already tell you, man will deceive you. Look at the road in front of you. Look at the road in front of you. Man will deceive you. That's been written thousands of years ago, way before you and I was born. And it'll be there after we are gone. It's in the book called the Bible. Oh, I don't read the Bible. I'm an atheist. Okay. I don't believe in nothing. Well, let me see. Since you're an atheist, don't you watch television every night? Don't you get up and go to work every 5 days a week? Don't you pay your bills? You're atheist. Well, why don't you stop watching TV? Why don't you stop paying your rent? Don't pay your bills. A religion is anything you do on a daily basis. Everything you do is religion. Now, what nationality or what church or interdenominational church you belong to, that's the title. But religion is what you do every day. That's why the Bible say pray. Because if you don't pray, you're going to be prayed on. You notice how words seem to me, sound alike, but have a different spin when you say it? You got to look within yourself, because we stopped looking at what our young people are doing. We stopped looking at what our young people are doing. And when we did that, other people that look after their kids are losing their kids to gun violence, suicide, mental health issues. Love is the only way out of this situation. We have to love ourselves and teach love to our kids, not hate. It's written in scripture. God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, so that you and I would have a chance for everlasting life. Not everlasting life here on earth. What comes from the earth goes back to the earth. That's why they bury you. That's why they cremate you and throw your ashes wherever you want them spread. It goes back from which it came. Your spirit is in limbo or purgatory until God chooses to make a decision on where you go. We got to stop pretending we got all the answers. I don't have the answers. I'm searching for the answer. That's why I do a talk show. I'm hoping that somebody out there knows more than me will talk to these young people that they know. You can't tell me you don't have a next door neighbor. You can't tell me that you don't have kids running around in your neighborhood. They are dying. And my thing is, no mothers are crying. We got on sunshades, and we saying they took my child's life, until one real mother comes along and weeping. I remember when I was young and I ran across the picture of my dad when one of my older brothers passed away when he was a child. He had, back in the day, was called double pneumonia. And my mom and them stayed in Portsmouth at the time. And I wasn't even born. And they said they took him to the hospital. And they wouldn't give him oxygen. I wonder why. Not because he was sick, because the color of his skin. He was black. My mother and father came from North Carolina as sharecroppers. And they began to raise their family here. And when it was time for my brother to be buried, back then that was round about, I don't know, the 40s. I don't know. All I know, I saw a picture of my dad. Back then, you could bring the people home and set the body in the living room. And people could come by. And that's when they had the setting up, they call it. The awake, that they call it now. And my dad, they had took a picture of my dad holding his shotgun because he didn't want to live because his son had passed away. He couldn't do nothing because the hospital didn't want to give him oxygen because I guess you got to have insurance even then. We are fighting the same battles. And somewhere along the way, it's gotten better, but we're still fighting the same battles. Other than the battle of we killing each other. Yeah, we might got in a scuffle back then. We used to fight. The next day, we back buddies. We ain't buddies when you done pull that trigger. People riding down the street shooting. People driving on the interstate, they're shooting. This is more than the Wild Wild West. Has anybody stopped to pray? I don't see nobody praying. Where the church leaders are. Church leaders, we got the police walking through the neighborhood. Where the preachers at the churches? I'm from Portsmouth. They got 60-some churches over there. That means there's 60-some preachers. Maybe north on Virginia Beach got more. I've been in a few marches in Virginia Beach. But our kids are dying. And every church should be marching. I wonder what happened. We pick the battles, what we want to do. But our kids are dying. I don't know what to tell you. I know there's something wrong with the picture. I know that our kids are wondering why they not. I put this picture back up because this is the poster child that I'm going to be putting out posters real soon once I get approval from her mother. Once I get permission. Our kids are the most precious commodity on this planet. But it made us want to take our own future away. We ain't marching when it comes to our kids dying. But if a police officer shoot one of us, we marching. I guess we done got tired of marching now. Our kids need our help. Our kids need our love. I'm not a rich man, but I'm rich in many things. Financially, no. I don't have money to blow. Sometimes I don't even go out my door. But when I do, it's because I'm trying to understand why we are not concerned about our youth. Our kids are the most precious gift on the face of this planet. And we pretend that we bosses, we entrepreneurs. But what about our children? What about our next door neighbor child? I'll be getting other poster children too to put up. I hope you join the campaign. It's not about me. It's about the future of our community. It's the future of your family. It's the future of the United States. So don't get it twisted. We was already here. We were already here. Do your research. We have to stop pointing fingers. We have to stop letting the enemy take control. Because if we don't come together, we're going to lose a generation. Because every year, there's going to be a politician running for office. So isn't it time? Isn't it time to remember why we're here? Why God has allowed us to live a long time.
Hi, Kelly and Amy. I'm an up-and-coming stand-up comedian, and just yesterday, I had a show at a dive bar where there were 3 audience members. And by the reaction to my jokes, it seems as if 2 were under local and/or general anesthesia. But just like you said, Kelly, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Stay here more with Kelly and Amy after this. A tiny pinch of Nor chicken bouillon will save you more gas.